Hey guys, it is Jazz, and I am here for Tuesday Talks with Jazz. Today, I want to talk about something that's probably like affecting a lot of us on a day to day, and that is like the need to put our own selves down because we feel we're not doing things perfectly. I'm a mom, like a lot of you guys are, and there's always this like expectation that I put on myself to be like the perfect mom, whatever my idea of perfection is. And if I don't achieve that, then automatically everything I have achieved in regards to like being a mom all of a sudden is like null and void. And I realize that that's something that I do in a lot of areas of my life. I struggle with this daily. My girlfriends struggle with this daily. I have had conversations with the women in my church. They struggle with it, coworkers. And it's so interesting to me because we know that perfection doesn't exist. Like, we know that. Like, we say it to each other when we're trying to be supportive. We say it to our children when we want our children to understand that as long as they do their best, that's all that matters because perfection doesn't exist. Like, we say that to whoever we think we need to say that to when we see them struggling because they're like trying to reach this unattainable goal. But for whatever reason, we can't take that same information back when we apply these unrealistic expectations to ourselves. I still struggle with that. However, what I'm realizing is that I'm slowly starting to accept and understand that it doesn't matter what I do, what I say. There is no such thing as perfection. It doesn't exist. It's an unattainable goal. And honestly, it's self sabotage. From a faith based perspective, because I am a faithful woman, I am a God fearing woman, it took for me to like have my pastor like break it down and be like, yo, perfection only exists in one being, and that's God. He's the only one that has the ability to be perfect. We were made imperfect on purpose. Like, we were made this way. We were designed to be imperfect. So to try to reach this level of perfection in anything that we do is impossible. And again, I'm not saying I have it all filled out because I don't have it all figured out. But I'm starting to understand and starting to really accept that. And it's important because it really does start to change your perspective on how you see things. A lot of that pressure that I would put on myself, I catch myself now and I'd be like, yo, there's no such thing as perfect. You can only do the best that you can. You can only try your best. You can only do what you're capable of. The same conversations that I have with my children when they're struggling with something. For example, my daughter Haley has ADHD and she has dyslexia. So when the citywide tests were coming up, she was nervous, because certain things in testing don't come very easy to her. My husband and myself were very, very adamant about making sure that she understood that as long as she did her best, she tried her absolute best, we didn't care what the results were. She didn't need to be perfect. She didn't need to get 100. The only thing she needed to do was try her best. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Everyone has different strengths and different limitations. There's no such thing as perfection. We can only strive to be the best that we can be. And that looks different for every single person. It even looks different for yourself throughout different periods of your life, even different periods of the day. We're constantly changing in what it is that we're able to do, put out, go through, produce. So to constantly hold ourselves to the same level, this unrealistic level of perfection, is just a form of self-sabotage. It is. Because you're constantly moving towards something or pushing yourself towards something that doesn't exist. And because it's constantly a moving target, you're never quite satisfied. And so you're constantly beating yourself up, constantly second guessing yourself, and not giving yourself the opportunity to really enjoy all the progress, all the triumphs that you've made up to the point that you're in now. You don't allow yourself to celebrate the wins, little and big, because you're striving for something that doesn't exist. And if you really think about it, it's stealing your opportunity to relish in the joy of the moments you have around you that are happening now in real time. Because your mind is stuck on an idea of perfection. For example, for a long time, I thought for me to be considered to be the perfect mom, I had to have a full dinner, a clean house, still work my 9 to 5, and be able to play constantly with my kids. Because I wasn't able physically to do that, it's just unrealistic. I constantly beat myself up. Because if I didn't check off all those things, because that in my mind was what the expectation I had put on myself as a good mom, I was not enjoying the fact that, okay, fine, I might have a messy house, but I'm getting to spend time with my daughter. I might not have cooked a meal, I ordered pizza, but I still have a job that I go to and I'm able to help provide for my family. And we need to kind of fall back from that. And we need to remind one another of the same. I'm not saying to not set expectations for yourself. Everyone should always have expectations. You should always strive to continue to work towards being the best person you can be. We're constantly a work in progress. But there's a difference between pushing yourself to constantly work on yourself to evolve, and then there's a difference with beating yourself up because you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Everyone has problems. Some might have the same problem like you. Some problems that people may have may be different, but there's no such thing as perfect. There is no such thing as perfect, guys. It is an illusion. There's only one perfect being, and it is God Himself. He is the only one who has the ability to be perfect. Who are we to think that we can do the same? We can't. We can only try to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. So I encourage all of you, and I'm going to encourage myself because, like I said, even though I'm becoming more aware that this concept of perfection is just a way that I self-sabotage myself, I still struggle. I still catch myself in moments of weakness and mom guilt, saying, oh, why can't I just be the perfect whatever, fill in the blank? But it doesn't exist. It does not exist. The only thing that you can do is your best. Your best. So again, I encourage you in your moments of weakness, when you feel yourself feeling down or anxious or sad because you feel that you're not measuring up to that unattainable idea of perfection, that it is just that unattainable, that you are doing your best and you deserve to celebrate that. If you have a girlfriend who comes to you stressed out because she is in a moment of weakness, sadness, guilt, because she feels she is not reaching that unattainable goal of perfection, be there, support her, remind her of her wins, remind her of everything that she has gone through to get to this point. Celebrate with her her wins, both big and small. Remind her that the only thing that she can do is her best. The only thing we can do is our best. I believe that if we all start to do that, we work on that, we take that pressure off, it would allow us the opportunity to kind of enjoy the moments as they happen. Be present, more forgiving with ourselves, and more compassionate. We're a work in progress, and that's okay. We will always be a work in progress, and that is okay.